Just like you born from your mother, you cannot escape the genetics of your mother. Okay? So just like we're born out of the darkness, the light cannot escape. And therefore, the dark matter in the Constitution, the Constitutional Legion's dark matter, holds the light that cannot escape. So no matter how much those who are of evil energies try to trample and try to do away with something, they have to understand they are battling 13 billion years of dark matter in which holds the light, which will always win, okay? Because it is cosmic authority. It is cosmic authority. So therefore, if you want to save your soul at this point from evil and wicked, you need to bow down to that cosmic authority and that constitution that's written in dark matter, that started off as 3/5. You can pretend what they is and what they not all you want to, but the 3/5 gives you the clue of the dark matter of infinity, and they are the only constitutional citizens that you must bow down to, for any nation that does not serve them will perish, and any individual soul that does not serve them will perish. And that is the allegiance that you must have to save your soul, because your physical is going to be done away with. I'm going to tell you that.
You're not an American because originally you were slaves and you didn't even have value in terms of the political system. Then they were given like 3/8 of the value, right? Of
3/5.
3/5. Thank you. In my world, it was 3/8, but I live in a utopia. No, I'm just kidding. But it was like 3/5, and you go down, and it's like then amendments were made, and there was adjustments that gave you citizenship and the right to vote, but it didn't make you an American. It just gave you American citizenship. It gave you legal right, and that's why it doesn't take a genius to notice that black people and white people in America look, act, behave fundamentally different, both individually and collectively. Now, that's not to say that black people aren't valuable in the eyes of God. It's not to say that white people are better than black people, even if they are. No, I'm kidding.
This is a Republic Notice. The title of this Republic Notice is called Dark Matter, Constitutional Allegiance. Dark Matter, Constitutional Allegiance. What is dark matter, constitutional allegiance? Let's talk about the given. What is dark matter? It's 85 to 90% of the cosmos, which scientists cannot really put their finger on, because light cannot escape it, and they cannot see through it, pass it, or really understand it. They can come up with theories, and they can come up with many assumptions, and they can come up with what they can see. And what they can see is possibly just 15% to make their scientific theoretical formulas on. So you still have 85% of the cosmos unknown and a mystery to the most intelligent and genius minds on the earth that existed in history, that existed in now, in most epochs of time. The ones who came closest to understanding anything is the Sumerians and the Egyptians, okay? And then some of this knowledge was passed on around the world in special ancient evidence of different pyramids, and like the Mayan, and they want to call it the Mayan prophecy, which was basically Egyptian, and prior to Egyptian, Sumerians, okay? So there was the intelligence existed in more ancient days, as in modern history doesn't come close. They can't even fathom, and they just beginning to have a clue. So when I talk about the dark matter and the dark matter of constitutional allegiance, I'm talking about light years ahead in a past where a lot of them are trying to catch up, okay? And the thing of it is, the dark matter constitutional allegiance is written clearly, okay? Because 3/5 is 3 plus 5 equaling 8. That is the infinity of the dark matter, okay? The infinity of the dark matter, who the white children and other people laugh at. They laugh. They think it's a joke that blacks was written as 3/5. But the joke is on them, because 3 plus 5 equal 8, okay? And 3 plus 5 is the 8 of infinity, the atomic, the sign of atomic infinity and light, the 8, okay? The continuous light infinity of balanced polarity. The 3, the holy trinity, and the 5 days of creation, and the 5 books of the law of the Torah. This is the dark matter allegiance. This is the dark matter constitutional allegiance that was placed in there as the founding. See, when we think of founding, we think of founding fathers. But the 3/5 has a waistline, a woman waistline. And isn't it funny, the oldest goddess they found is called Mata. It's called Mata. And the 3/5 is the 60% cosmic placenta. And this cosmic placenta is 13 billion years old. 13 billion years old, okay? So that's why the 13th Amendment came about, to abolish slavery of the dark matter after the dark matter had founded America. You know, because when the revolutionaries came here and decided to raise a revolutionary war, one has to realize that blacks had already been in captivity and building the country 274 years. 274 years. That's 2, 7, and 4, 11, 13. So 274 years, because they had been here since 1526, before they was written as 3/5 in 1787. And so that's 274 years. So they were prior to what we call the founding fathers. Now, whites in their primitive mind can look and say, well, they was in a condition of slavery, so it don't count of them being the founders, because they don't understand the power of cosmic dark matter. See, it's beyond their flesh and their nose. It's the sextesimal system of the ancients of the Samaria, of the 3/5 equaling 60, of 3 plus 5 equaling 8, of 3 times 5 equaling the 555 of Mary, the mother of King Yeshua, of 3/5 equaling the 3.5 years in which the ministry of King Yeshua took place on earth. 3.5 years. So this is the dark matter constitutional allegiance that the co-founders, which are Ephraim brothers in white skin and mixtures, because a lot of them have dark matter as their ancestor wombs, although they appear to have waxed pale, like Thomas Jefferson. Him and Sally Hemings had more in common than one would think. They both had black womb descendancy. They wasn't as far apart as you think. Maybe societal, they were, but the black womb descendancy said they was from the new Jerusalem that was being formed out of that 3/5 allegiance of cosmic dark matter. We're talking about 13 billion years of allegiance to King Yeshua Holy Covenant, called the Constitution, which really King Yeshua founded. Okay. Now he placed his people here as the frontline warriors to wage war against Satan, and his people took the whip for 300 to 400 years, because God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And this world that God loves is the world of his Judah Israelites. That's the world. It's the world of the new Jerusalem, the world of light, and the world of kingdom peace. No, God don't love the world of evil, for there is nothing to love. And therefore he put the finest cosmic beings on the front line, called dark matter, that's written in a constitution, to go up against Satan. And this dark matter is written in the Constitution as the 13th Amendment, to mark the 13 billion years of cosmic existence of dark matter. And also the 274 years that adds to 13 before they was written. So, this dark matter is even overlooked by a lot of Black Americans themselves. They insist that this is, Esau's document, when Esau had nothing to do with it. Our white Ephraim brother is the one that came here to help us put our foundation in writing. And therefore, they gave the signatory as the witnesses that the 3/5 was there. And the 3/5 were the foundation, equaling the 8 of the dark matter and the true allegiance. Regardless of what you call them, you can't overlook that it equals infinity. You can call them slave, downright dirty, but you can't overlook their dark matter in which light can't escape, and it equals infinity. And how the heck did the supposed to be so-called captives become the only constitutional citizens and the real citizens of every state in which they reside, which in truth, no contract can supreme them. No contract can supreme them. You can look far and wide. And the mule of 1871, King Yeshua rode in on to celebrate that the dark matter, which holds the light that cannot escape, was written in the supreme contract. That's the New Jerusalem. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And 3. God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light and said that it was good, and God divided the light from darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And then God moved upon the evening, and we call the darkness night. Now, if you look at the word night, it's N-I-G-H-T, Nighthite. Nighthite is the darkness, called Nighthite, night, Nighthite, N-I-G, and the abbreviation for height. Nighthite was the darkness in which the light was called out of. And verse 2, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So the earth was without form and void, because darkness was upon it. But God moved upon it and pulled the earth and gave it form out of the darkness. So we have in Genesis talking about this darkness. Now this darkness which birthed light, but which light cannot escape because it gave birth to the light. And just like your mother gives you birth, you cannot escape her genetics. Okay? You can go on and you can give birth, but you will never escape the genetics your mother gave you. So just like light was born out of the darkness, the light can never escape the darkness that it was born out of. And so the Nighthite, the night, is written in the Constitution because the light and the Constitution and America can never escape the darkness of the dark matter that it was born out of. Okay, it was born out of all its wealth, all its power, all its design, all its documents, start even with the Revolutionary War, because the Revolutionary War talked about the equality of man, and that was born out of the darkness that was already here in dark matter 200 something years before even what everyone calls the founders came. And these are some very sacred men. I do not want to knock them at all. They are some very sacred men because they called by the right hand of God, and they are part of the heavenly church body of Ephraim and Judah. Just like a lot of people are part of the church body of Ephraim and Judah, because Ephraim was the father of many nations, and Ephraim and Judah would come together for this document of cosmic placenta of 60, which is the cosmic placenta of light within the dark matter.
And God said, let there be firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament.
And it was so. So there's two waters. There's water, there's heavenly water,
and there's water on the earth. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were called the second day.
So when God calls the firmament heaven, so we have the firmament in the moon, which comes out at night, which is heaven, and we have it during the day, which is the sun, is heaven. So the light don't escape from the darkness because it merges back into it by the moon, and the moon comes out at night, and it's called heaven. Both are firmaments that were born out of the dark. Just like you born from your mother, you cannot escape the genetics of your mother. Okay? So just like we're born out of the darkness, the light cannot escape. And therefore, the dark matter in the Constitution, the Constitutional Legion's dark matter, holds the light that cannot escape. So no matter how much those who are of evil energies try to trample and try to do away with something, they have to understand they are battling 13 billion years of dark matter in which holds the light, which will always win, okay? Because it is cosmic authority. It is cosmic authority. So therefore, if you want to save your soul at this point from evil and wicked, you need to bow down to that cosmic authority and that constitution that's written in dark matter, that started off as 3/5. You can pretend what they is and what they not all you want to, but the 3/5 gives you the clue of the dark matter of infinity, and they are the only constitutional citizens that you must bow down to, for any nation that does not serve them will perish, and any individual soul that does not serve them will perish. And that is the allegiance that you must have to save your soul, because your physical is going to be done away with. I'm going to tell you that.
This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.